The first day Ms. Elisa Rowan walked into Franklin Elementary, the laughter started before she even reached the blackboard. It wasn't the joyful kind. It was sharp, testing, the kind that dared her to flinch. Someone kicked her chair back. Someone else whispered, loud enough to sting, "She won't last a week." Eliza paused, took a breath that trembled in her chest, and smiled anyway. What none of them knew was that she had already survived worse than this, and that in less than a minute, the room that tried to break her would be the same room begging for forgiveness. Eliza was new to the city, new to the school, and new to standing alone. She was young, soft-spoken, and carried grief like an invisible bruise. 2 years earlier, she had lost her husband in a car accident. Teaching was not just her job. It was the thing that kept her breathing when the nights grew too quiet. Franklin Elementary, however, had a reputation. Students pushed limits. Parents complained. Teachers transferred out quietly by winter. The bullies' older students, repeating the behavior they learned at home, ruled the classroom with smirks and dares. Among the quieter students sat a little girl named Lily Carter. She had tangled hair, oversized sweaters, and eyes that watched everything. Lily rarely spoke. Her mother worked 2 jobs, and her father had passed away when she was very small. At home, the apartment felt cold even when the heater worked. At school, Lily felt invisible. But she noticed something about Ms. Rowan on that first day: the way her hand shook slightly as she wrote her name, the way she kept teaching even when chalk dust was thrown at her back. The bullying escalated quickly. Notes with cruel drawings appeared on Eliza's desk. Students mocked her voice, her clothes, her grief when they found out she was a widow. One afternoon, a boy named Marcus stood up and said what everyone else was thinking. "Why are you even here? You think you can change us?" The room went silent, waiting for her to break. Eliza looked at Marcus, then at the rest of the class, and something in her steadied. She told them the truth. She told them she had lost everything once, that pain didn't make people weak, and that she wasn't going anywhere. Still, nights were hard. Bills piled up, doubt crept in. That December, the school announced a charity program where students could write letters not to Santa at the North Pole, but to Santa at the corner office, a symbolic address for anonymous donors and local business leaders who helped families in need. Lily took the assignment seriously. She didn't ask for toys, she wrote carefully, erasing and rewriting until the paper was thin. "Dear Santa at the corner office," she wrote, "my mom is tired all the time. My teacher tries very hard, but people are mean to her. I don't need much. Maybe just for things to stop hurting so much." That letter landed on the desk of Jonathan Hale, the CEO of a large company downtown. Jonathan was wealthy, respected, and profoundly lonely. His wife had died of cancer 3 years earlier, and since then, success felt hollow. He had agreed to read a few letters for the program out of obligation. Lily's letter stopped him cold, not because of what it asked for, but because of what it understood. Jonathan did something he hadn't done in years. He got in his car. The knock on Lily's apartment door came on a snowy evening. Her mother froze, fear flashing across her face. When she opened the door, a tall man in a simple coat stood there, holding a small box and an awkward smile. "I think," he said gently, "I might be Santa from the corner office." Inside the box was grocery money, a warm coat for Lily, and a note promising school supplies for her class. But Jonathan didn't stop there. He visited Franklin Elementary the next day, quietly observing from the back of the room. He watched as students mocked Eliza again, watched her swallow the hurt and keep teaching. When Marcus knocked over her books on purpose, something in Jonathan snapped. He stood up. In 60 seconds that felt like thunder, he addressed the class, the principal, and the staff. He spoke about respect, about pain unseen, about how bullying doesn't just harm the weak, it poisons the strong. He revealed who he was, and more importantly, why he was there. "This teacher," he said, looking at Eliza, "is the reason some children still believe in kindness, and anyone who tries to break that should be ashamed." Silence crushed the room. Marcus's bravado collapsed. One by one, students stood, eyes wet, voices shaking. They apologized, not because of Jonathan's power, but because for the first time, they saw Elisa as human. They saw Lily watching them, hope flickering in her small chest. Change didn't happen overnight, but it began. Bullying reports dropped. Students listened. Eliza stayed. Jonathan funded counseling programs and visited often, not as a CEO, but as a man learning to live again. Lily smiled more. Her mother slept easier. On the last day before winter break, Eliza read a note left on her desk. "Thank you for not leaving," it said. She looked out at her class, once her hardest challenge, now her greatest proof. The story spread quietly, not as a miracle, but as a reminder. Kindness can start with a letter. Courage can last longer than cruelty. And sometimes, when the world tries to break you, all it takes is 1 minute of truth to change everything.